What's up guys, Dakota here, and welcome back to the channel. So, we are going to be towing with a 392. I've currently, at the moment, have just one dirt bike and the trailer on. I have towed with both dirt bikes and the trailer. So, right now we're sitting at about 1,250 pounds or so. With two dirt bikes, it's about 1,500 pounds. Now, this is a standard 392 Wrangler. This is not the Extreme Recon package. So, this one has, when it was new, came standard with 33s and 373 gears versus the Extreme Recon's 35s and 4.56 gears. Now, my particular Jeep is still running on those same 373 gears, but with 35s. This video is mainly to see kind of, not necessarily if power-wise it can handle it. These things are rated to tow up to 3,500 pounds. Obviously, with 470 horsepower and 470 pound-feet of torque, it's going to be able to move this no problem, like at all. But the question is, how often will it be changing gears to maintain that speed, and how much does the gas mileage take a hit when you're towing? So we're gonna go ahead, tow the dirt bike up, and then I'll give you guys some measurements as far as like how much suspension sag there was and all that stuff. And yeah, we'll go from there. I should point out that the Wranglers and the Wrangler 392 does not have a specific like trailer tow mode. However, I've noticed that when you do have a trailer hooked up, it knows that it's got something because it'll stay in gear a little bit longer, like around town, like when there's not, say, like a whole lot of load, right? You're not trying to maintain 75 miles an hour going up a hill. So I don't know if it's something that when it knows that something's plugged into like the 4-pin or the 7-pin connector, if it knows, oh, let me just stay in each gear a little longer. But that's something that I kind of noticed. Like I said, they don't have a specific trailer tow mode. However, on the new 24 Wranglers that are going to get the updated axle that will allow them to tow 5,000 pounds, we'll see if they throw in a trailer tow mode on that. But anyways, just thought I'd let you guys know that. And yeah, once we get up there, we'll kind of go over some more stuff. Alright guys, just got back from riding, and you have to excuse the hair. So I'm going to get cleaned up real quick, and then we'll kind of talk about how the 392 towed with one bike and also with two bikes, and kind of my overall thoughts on the 392 as a towing vehicle, and kind of if you should be worried about gearing and stuff like that when it comes to the 392. Alright guys, so the 392 and towing. Now real quick, I want to point out I have towed with both dirt bikes on here and with one. Obviously today was just with one. Did a little bit of riding by myself. So that's about 1,250 pounds versus with both of them, it's about 1,500 pounds. Because the trailer, I think, is around 1,000. Each bike is about 253-ish pounds. So, you know, just rounding it, it's about 1,250 versus 1,500. Any four-door Rubicon currently can tow 3,500 pounds. So the 392 is rated at 3,500 pounds maximum towing. However, the 2024 Wranglers four doors are going to get the upgraded axle to where they can tow 5,000 pounds. But obviously the 392 has plenty of power. That's not really the question that I'm asking, is how powerful is it? Because obviously 470 pound-feet of torque and horsepower is plenty of power to tow a lot more than 3,500 pounds. What I want to know is, how does the transmission behave? You know, it's an 8-speed, like I mentioned earlier, this is the 373 gearing on 35s, whereas when you get a Extreme Recon, you get 4.56 gearing, which is a big difference on 35s. So, because obviously the standard 392, they really tried to give it really long gears to try to make sure on the highway it got decent gas mileage. So it's interesting to see one bike versus two bikes. I honestly didn't think there would be that big of a difference, but there actually was. So on the way up here with both bikes, I did the same trip. It's about, round trip is about 130 miles. With both bikes, it was spending a lot of time in 7th gear. So it wasn't really going into eighth. It'd go in, and then it'd come out, and then it'd go back, and then it'd stay in seventh for a few minutes, then it'd go back down. So like up to like some steep gradients, or not even steep gradients, just gradients that were just longer, you know, at trying to maintain 70 miles an hour or so, it would stay in seventh more. It was drinking gas. So again, on 130 miles with 2 bikes, so again about 1,500 pounds, I used 3/4 of a tank of gas in 130 miles. That sucks. that was terrible. What's crazy is, now I've only done the first leg of this. I haven't driven back home. On the way up here, I've only used, I think, a little bit less than 1/4 of a tank. A little bit less. I think I'm actually closer to an 1/8 of a tank with one bike. And with one bike, so again, 250 pounds or so less, it was staying in 8th gear. I'd say compared to previously with both bikes, it was probably about half the number of downshifts, I'd say. And so far, we'll see, I'll put up on the screen here if how much gas I actually ended up using round trip. But so far, it seems like that extra 250 pounds is the difference between it being able to stay in more versus having to hop into 7th quite frequently. So, you know, you're talking about being at, you know, using, let's just say, a 1/4 throttle to maintain 70. Again, I had it on cruise control, so that way it's taken my feet out of it. It's just cruise control. What is the car going to decide to stay at 70 miles an hour? And so it would hop up and it would be at about 2,500 or a little bit more and kind of stay there and hover there for a little bit. Also, suspension-wise, it's handled it fine. I mean, you don't even notice the trailer back here as far as like the suspension. It doesn't feel like it's really squatted down. It doesn't feel unsettled. The brakes feel super strong. Coming to a stop with both bikes on here, it had no issues. The brakes feel good, and you don't notice it. You know, there are a lot of cars where sometimes the trailer hits and it kind of pushes the back of the vehicle down. This doesn't feel like that. So it feels really competent, really stable. Again, this is only 1,500 pounds, but I figured this is a pretty realistic test because a lot of people aren't going to be maxing these things out when they're towing. In my opinion, I feel like most people are going to be doing what I'm doing, towing dirt bikes, or a lot of off-road trailers weigh anywhere from 1,000 to 2,000 pounds, which is kind of right in the ballpark of what I'm towing here. So they're just kind of a bit more realistic. I just don't see people loading these things up frequently with 3,500 pounds, because a lot of people don't realize how much 3,500 pounds actually is. 1,000-pound trailer, 5x10, 2 dirt bikes is 1,500 pounds. A side-by-side, typically a 4-seater, is anywhere from 1,500 to 2,000 pounds. 19-foot boats and stuff like that are anywhere from 2,500 pounds to 4,000 pounds, depending on what you get. So again, just kind of to give you guys an idea, power-wise, no issues, obviously. So it doesn't struggle to do it. It's just the transmission figuring out what gear it needs to be in, which will affect how much gas mileage you go, obviously. And so if you're traveling to, let's say you're making a long road trip further than what I'm doing, you know, it's kind of interesting to know. So with all that being said, gearing-wise, if you're going to be towing frequently, then probably need to not have the 373s if you're going to be towing frequently. Especially, again, keep in mind, I have 35s on here, so these are bigger, heavier tires than the standard 33s on this particular Rubicon. So if you get the 4, 5, 6 gearing, I mean, it would probably be able to stay in 8th the majority of the time. So I think if you're going to do quite frequent towing, if you already have a 392 and you have the 373s, I think going to a 410 or higher, if you're going to be towing stuff quite frequently, I think would be the move to go, just because it's going to allow it to stay in 8th a bit more often, which will allow you to get a little bit better gas mileage so that you don't use 3/4 of a tank in 130 miles. The suspension handles it fine. As far as the weight on here, when you load the bike up, it probably only squats down, if I remember correctly, about 1/4 of an inch to a 1/2 inch. So obviously with both bikes on here, we're talking about anywhere from 1/2 inch to an inch of sag in the rear. With both bikes on here, probably closer to an inch of sag on the back, and again, it feels totally solid. So yeah, anyways guys, I might end up doing this also with the Bronco, just to see how the Bronco tows, because I have towed already with the Bronco with both bikes, not for as long, more of a shorter distance. And so it's kind of interesting comparing the two, because again, the Bronco makes very similar torque, pretty close. I mean, it's about 415, I think. So obviously this has more, but it's a pretty substantial amount of torque, and it has 2 extra gears. So it's kind of interesting to see how those two, and they're technically rated to tow the same amount. but the Bronco has 4.7, a 4.7 final drive. So I'll probably make a video on the Bronco towing as well if you guys are interested in that. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you learned something. And again, apologize for how I look. I just got done riding. I thought I should have thrown the GoPro up just for grids, just to splice it in, but whatever. Anyways, guys, hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to give it a like and subscribe for more videos. Also, check the link in the description below if you're trying to get a new Insta360 X3. If you use my link, you can get a free accessory. Anyways, guys, I will see you in the next video. Take care.